Nueva. I'm a certified Iyengar yoga teacher, and today we will be doing some simple poses to get you back into practice if you have had COVID and are recovering. I'm sitting in Vajrasana, hero's pose, but any simple seated pose will do. Bring the shoulders right above the hips and find a firmness in the legs. And from that place of firmness in the legs, find an inner lift to the spine. On an exhalation, bring the hands into Namaskar Mudra and ascend from the crown of the head. The screen can take our attention outwards, so be mindful to draw the eyes so they feel like they're looking into the back of the head, and let the eyes be soft. Be aware of the space within. Let's begin practice by chanting 3 Ohms together with our eyes closed. Keep the chest lifted. Keep the lift in the spine as you release the head towards the heart. Neck soft. Release the back of the palms to the tops of the thighs and look up. So for today's practice, you will need a mat, a place at the wall, ideally, if you can find it, a blanket, perhaps a towel, and a chair. Any chair will do, but I'll show you the chair that I have. It's a chair that's got a relatively flat surface, and we'll use this as we move on in our practice today. So a mat, a place on the wall if you have it. If you don't, all of the poses are still workable, and a blanket or a folded towel. We'll start by taking downward facing dog with the heels very high up on the wall. So you're going to see that I have a ledge here, and I'm going to rest my heels on that ledge so I can press the heels really strongly into the wall. Line up the hands with the knees and the feet. Be in a crawling position. Take the buttocks up. Walk the feet back and place the heels up the wall. I'm taking my feet very high up the wall today. Press the backs of the heels into the wall so you feel like you're taking more of your weight in the legs. Make the legs straight by lifting up the quadriceps and pressing the quadriceps back to the back wall. Find a long extension in the spine. Press down with the hands so that you're taking even more weight into the legs. Straight arms, straight legs. On an exhalation, come down. Our next pose is Vajrasana, lightning bolt pose. I'm sitting on top of my heels. So for today, instead of having a traditional yoga blanket, there's a sheet from my linen closet. And I'm showing this because you can really use almost anything as a prop if you're creative. We're just going to sit so that the buttocks are on top of the heels. I'm lifting myself up and placing the sheet in between the backs of my calves and the backs of my thighs. This makes the pose a bit more stable by sitting up on top of having some more height. Bring the shoulders in line with the hips. Take the arms to the side. Press the feet into the floor, and again, just like in the first pose, let the thighs be heavy. Let the legs be heavy so that it feels that the spine is lifting. On an inhalation with the palms forward, bring the arms up. Stretch the thumbs up to the ceiling. Stretch the little finger up to the ceiling without taking too much extra curve in your lower back. Chest open. Chest open. Exhale, release. Now, we'll bring the palms so that they're facing the ears. And feel how the chest, how things are open in a different way. Look to see that there's a length along the sides of the body, along the sides of the torso. Inhale, arms up. Straighten those arms by locking the elbows. Create a strong foundation in the pose by pressing the feet into the floor as you lift the thumbs and lift the little fingers. Exhale, take the arms down. Lift yourself up and remove the blanket. Come on over to the wall if you have one. I'm going to show this pose with my right side. So my right hip, I'm standing in Tadasana, mountain pose, with my right hip close to the wall. And my palm is on the wall. Rotate the legs inward, so there's a gentle inward rotation of the thigh. So the feet are not splaying out to the side. The feet point straight forwards. You can keep the feet together, or you can keep the feet apart, if that is more comfortable. Extend the arm up the wall. And if you're feeling comfortable with balance, come up onto the toe mounds. Bring the palm higher up on the wall. And then as you lower the heels, see what's possible in terms of just how high you can keep the palm. Find a long stretch along the sides of the waist, all the way down from the armpit to the hip. Exhale, release the arm down. I'm going to turn my back to you, and this time we'll do it on the left side. Left hip all the way, flush up to the wall. Mountain pose, feet together or feet apart. Legs rotating inwards, toes facing forwards. Left palm at the wall. Scrape the left palm up as high as you can go, and keeping a sense of comfort in the shoulder. Come up onto the toe mounds if you feel comfortable. Keep the left arm high as long as you can as you lower the heels down. That's it. Create length in the sides of the waist. Exhale. Take the arm down. Stand in Tadasana. Roll the legs inwards, face the toes so that they are pointing forwards. Our next pose is Gomukasana, cow face pose in mountain pose. And we're going to take the pose to a place that's gentle for you today. Bring the weight into the back of the heels, and I can feel as I'm doing this that my shoulders are becoming more in line with the hips, and my legs are straight, just like in downward facing dog, with the thighs lifting up and pressing back towards the bone. Inhale, take the right arm up. I am mirroring you. Now I'm going to turn around so you can see. I'm bending the arm at the elbow and taking the right arm, so the right fingertips fall where they may. And I'm stretching the left arm out to the side and swinging the left arm down and around, keeping the left arm close into the back. Snake the hands up the middle of the back and take the pose so the hands are in a place that's comfortable to you. Point the right elbow to the ceiling. Keep the left arm close into the body. And look for a sense of openness in the right armpit, and even an openness, if you will, across the chest. Exhale, release. That's it. Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, take the left arm up. Stretch the left arm up as high as you can, just like when we stretched the arm up at the wall. Again, I'm going to turn my back to you. Stretch the left arm up, bend the arm at the elbow, and bring the fingertips right where they fall. Extend the right arm out to the side, swing it around. Snake the fingertips up the back, the middle of the back. And everyone's hands will fall into a different comfortable place today. That could be the final pose. Doesn't matter, wherever it's comfortable. Point the left elbow up to the ceiling and let the right front of the arm be long. How's your balance? Do you feel aligned between the shoulders being in line with the hips and with the feet? Take a minute and explore the pose. Exhale, release. Stretch the arms down. Our next pose, I'm going to use the chair. I'm going to bring the chair to the wall, and I'm going to place my sheet on it, and I'm coming to a crawling position in front of the chair. If your knees are sensitive, place the towel on your mat so that your knees are supported. Extend the calves in line with the knees and press the tops of the feet in. I'm going to lean down and place the elbows on the chair and bring my hands to Namaskar Mudra. Then I walk the buttocks back, and then I'm going to feel a gentle stretch across the fronts of the deltoids, and I'm keeping the abdomen long, even though I'm looking at the floor. Keeping the abdomen long, even though I'm looking at the floor. To come out of the pose, Walk back towards the chair and stand up. Take the chair and place it in front of you. And you'll place it, if you have I'm going to show it two ways. So if you have a wall and if you don't have a wall. So if you don't have a wall, and that's not available today, take your chair and place height on top of it. And you may have to get creative here. I am today because I want to show you what it's like when I get creative today. Feet in Tadasana. Internal rotation of the legs, toes facing forwards. Feet are hips width apart. I have my hands on my hips. I fold forwards, and I'm placing the area of my hairline right on the blanket setup. So when I'm without the wall, my buttocks are right in line with my ankles. I'm adjusting the sheets so that they feel that they are supporting my forehead. Elbows wide, one hand over the other. And to come up out of the pose, you'll place the hands on the hips and come on out. So that's if a wall isn't happening today. So if a wall is happening, your pose will look like this. You'll bring the chair about 1.5 feet in front of the wall. Again, legs in Tadasana, mountain pose, straight legs. So my buttocks are resting on the wall. Rest the buttocks on the wall. And it might take a moment or two to adjust the chair so it's at a place that's really comfortable for you. So rest the buttocks at the wall, rest the forehead onto the height. Take one hand and place it on top of the other. Let the elbows be wide. And let there be a sense of traction. The buttocks are resting and the forehead is resting. Extension through the sides of the spine. Balance isn't part of this pose since the buttocks are at the wall. I'm going to stop talking for a second so you can simply feel what this pose is like. Change the hand position so the opposite hand is on top. Press the buttock bones into the wall again so that the action is renewed. Let the forehead rest. Bring a sense of calmness into the pose as you relax the eyes. Let them be soft. Take the gaze inwards. To come out of the pose, place the fingertips on the wall. Press the buttocks forwards, hands on the hips, and come up, leading from the tops of the shoulders. Supported forward bend. Let's take a supported wide-legged forward bend. So it's a really similar pose, but this time the legs are going to be wide at the wall. Now I'm seeing that my floor floor is a little bit slippery, and I'm really going to need that traction and really be able to use my feet to make this pose work. So when we're doing supported poses, take a minute if you need to play with it so that the pose feels just right. I can tell I'm going to need my mat, the horizontal width of the wall, just that purpose. My chair is about 1.5 feet in front of me. I'm separating my legs wide, and my feet actually feel kind of pigeon-toed. The outer edges of my feet, and I'm going to say that again, this is a really important direction in order to keep a sense of aliveness and integrity of the pose. The outer edges of the feet are parallel to the mat. So my feet are not splaying out like this, and it's not like I've got one in and one out. Both my feet are parallel to the mat. Outer edges parallel to the mat. I'm looking down for just a sec and lifting my arches. And I'm pressing the buttocks back towards the wall. My legs are straight. My legs are working, and I'm working them with that same thigh action. Hands on the hips. The whole time, my buttocks are never leaving the wall. And I'm placing the front of my forehead on the blanket set. It has a very soothing and cooling quality when we place the forehead on support. Keep that connection of the buttocks to the wall as you rest the forehead on support. Let the sides of the waist lengthen. Let the muscles on either side of the spine lengthen. Let the back of the neck be long. And look for a calming quality in the brain as you keep the eyes soft and take the attention inwards. So the legs are straight and the legs are working, but there's a sense of surrender and passiveness with the upper part of the body. Change the position of the arms. Press the buttocks back into the wall as strongly as you can. To come out of the pose, place the hands to the sides of the chair. Walk the feet in. Place the hands on top of the hips and come up leading from the shoulders. If you don't have a wall for the wide-legged forward bend, simply repeat the directions that I just gave. Bring the chair in front of you and come forwards. But I would ask that you be extra mindful about using your inner eyes so that the buttocks are right in line with the ankles. So it's not like the buttocks are here and you're coming forwards or here, but there's a sense of the buttocks being over the ankles. So there's that integrity of the alignment, and you're in the full present moment by neither leaning too far back or too far forward. Walk the feet in. Join the toes together, mountain pose. Does mountain pose feel any different after taking 2 supported poses? Keep the internal rotation of the legs. Dig the heels down. Lift the arms up on an inhalation, palms facing the ears. Join the palms into Namaskarasana. Bring your awareness to the soles of the feet. Straighten the elbows and lift the palms up. I'm turning to the side. Exhale. Extend the arms down. Back to Tadasana. Take the chair and move it so it'll be out of your way for the moment. And I am going to turn my mat so that the long edge is flush with the wall. Take your support for your head. Again, that could be a blanket or towel. And I've got my actual sheet folded into a square. And you'll bring that support all the way to the tops of your shoulders. Place your blanket on the floor. And we're going to take Baddha Konasana, lying down, cobbler's pose, with the toes at the wall. Sit facing the wall. Bring the soles of the feet together. However, bend the toes so that the toes are at the wall. The toes are bent in towards the wall. If that's not available to you today, then bring the toes forward and join the soles of the feet. So you have 2 options. You can bend the toes towards the wall, or you can keep the entire sole of the foot flush. It's up to you. I'm showing it with the toes bent towards the wall. The knees are widening, and the heels are in line with the perineum. So it's heels, perineum, navel, sternum, throat, nose, forehead. Draw a line beginning with the heels. Bring the buttocks towards the wall. Come down to the elbows and recline onto the floor. And adjust the setup for the support for the head so it's in line with the shoulders. Lift the buttocks up and then scoop the buttocks flesh towards the wall so that the lower back is long. If you have knee issues and you want to take the pose in a more supported manner, you can roll up towels and place them underneath the knee. So that's an option too. There are so many ways to customize these poses. Toes are bent towards the wall or the whole sole of the foot. Let the knees widen. There might be a slight balancing aspect with the sacrum. One side of the sacrum may be making more contact with the floor than others. And certainly a gentle stretch, an opening sensation in the inner groins. Take the arms about 45 degrees to the sides of the body and let the fingers curl. Let the fingers curl. Gently close the eyes. Soften the eyes. And let the eyes rest heavy in their sockets. So much screen time for everyone. See if you can bring a relaxing quality to the eyes. Take the attention to your breath. When you find your inhalation, see if you can find a gentle, rhythmic, orbital to and fro. So there's a circular quality between the inhalation and the exhalation. Let's stay with that. Gentle, rhythmic, orbital, to and fro of the breath on the inhalation, on the exhalation. To come out of the pose, place the palms to the outer thighs and join the knees together like a book, slowly. You can do this in stages. Bend the knees, place the sole of the foot onto the floor, take the knees in towards the chest on an exhalation, and on your next exhalation, roll to the right. Cradle the head into the right arm. Use the left fingertips to press you up towards a seated position. And come back to seated position. Great. So get your chair again, and we're going to do a supported relaxation. You can bring the chair all the way flush up to the wall. And again, if a wall is not happening today, no big deal. Then you'll place the chair away from the wall, but just be aware that it doesn't slip and that you have a sense of stability into the pose. If your floor is cold, take another blanket or a towel, and you can place that along the length of your mat. That's an option too, to keep you comfortable. Sit in front of the chair. Knees bent, soles of the feet onto the floor. Scoot the buttocks in towards the chair. Elbows down and gently recline. Again, the blanket setup or towel setup for the head comes all the way up to the tops of the shoulders. Place the back of the calves on the chair. So that the entire bottom leg from the back of the knee joint all the way down to the foot is supported. So if you've got something like this, take just a moment, consciously bring the back of the lower leg, so the back of the knee joint to the foot is supported in the entirety. Arms to the sides. Let the feet relax. Draw your attention inwards and see if there are any grips happening within your body. Is your jaw tight? Let it go. Do you feel a sense of tightness in the brain? Bring it back to the present moment. Let the front of the abdomen be long. Take the attention within as if you were a blank slate, as if the inner condition were a blank slate. If you have a thought or a distraction, gently, kindly see it, recognize it, and let it go. I will be quiet here so that you can experience the pose. This is our Shavasana. Find that rhythmic, orbital to and fro of the breath as you pay attention to the inhalation, as you pay attention to the exhalation. Come out of the pose, slowly, gingerly, bring the knees close to the chest. Pause. Feel the connection of the sacrum to the floor. Feel the entire back spine flush with the floor. Back of the neck is long. On an exhalation, synchronize your movement with the breath as you roll to the right. Bring the knees in close to the chest and let the back round. Pause. Press on up to a seated position. Sit up on top of your towel or your blanket stack in an easy cross-legged position. Bring the hands to Namaskar Mudra. Let the hands frame the chest. Close the eyes. Let the spine be long and ascend through the crown of the head like you did at the very beginning of class. Just see how you feel after a little bit of yoga. On an exhalation, release the head to the heart. Soften the eyes again. Lift the head up. Release the palms. And thank you so much for practicing yoga with me today. I hope you feel better soon. Bye.